everyone, welcome back to the Quilted Story. My name is Kathleen and my channel is all about my cross stitch, my quilting, and my machine embroidery projects. But today we're doing Christmas in July, and I'm here to talk to you about all the cross stitch projects that I FFO'd recently. And I'm going to break this program up into 2 segment videos, and because I did do quite a few, and I didn't want the videos to be too terribly long. So if anybody has watched my video from my last video, I talked about my sister being here to visit, my little sister Lisa. She was here visiting, and like little sisters do, she was a poking and a prodding, trying to get me to finish my cross stitch flimsies that I had all over my design wall. And you know, sometimes you just can't ignore your little sister. So it was the great motivation that I needed to get me going on those finishes, and I was real happy with the end results. So let's get started and show you some of those FFOs that I did with my cross stitch. Now, I stitched quite a few. As a matter of fact, I have 4 of them today, all from the Stitching with the Housewives. And the first one is called Farm Fresh Balsam. And I want to show you the pattern. I printed mine off on my home printer, so I downloaded it from their Etsy shop. And so it's not a great color rendition, but you know, it works. So that's the pattern that I stitched. And I did stitch mine on black because I love 16 count black Cosmo, and it's an Ada. I get it from Fat Quarter Shop. And the first one, like I said, is Farm Fresh Balsam. I don't know why I can't remember that, but didn't it turn out adorable? Oh my gosh, I just love this little pattern. And what I did was, like I said, I stitched it on 16 count black Cosmo, and I double mounted it. First time actually before I mounted it onto the first sticky board, the actual cross stitch part, I used a piece of black SF101 for the back side to, you know, eliminate any of the shadowing that might come through the holes in the black Ada. So I used the SF101 in black on the back side to kind of seal it. And then I mounted it on sticky board that had some Warm and Natural batting on it. And then I did a second sticky board with this really cute red and black plaid fabric. And then I used a piece of really pretty silver glitter cording to kind of like hide the multitude of sins around, you know, where the 2 pieces were coming together, the 2 sticky boards. And I started and stopped that up on the top because I knew I was going to put a bow there. And then that way I could hide where it started and stopped with the bow. And then I just added a little silver jingle bell and this curly Q hanger that, you know, allows me to hang it on my Christmas tree. And then on the back side, I used that black stiffy felt that I always use. I have one of my old tags on it because, you know, I rebranded after I finished these. And, but I like the black stiffy felt because that way I can kind of hide any kind of like, you know, not real pretty look on the back side in case you see it from another angle on my Christmas tree. You don't have to do that, but I tend to do that, and I use that black one because it tends to go with everything. So I usually pick up several sheets of that, and it's in the back of the store at Hobby Lobby where they keep their regular felt squares. These are a little bit larger, and they're called stiffy felt. So it's a little bit different, and I just glue it on the back side. But when I do cut it out, I cut it out slightly smaller than the actual second sticky board so that it will be inside the parameters. So, but that's my first one. Just love it. I could probably stitch these whole things over again. All 3 of these ones I'm about ready to show you, I could stitch them all over again. They were that much fun. And I did, like I said, I stitched them on 16 count black Cosmo Ada, and I get that at Fat Quarter Shop. And I did use, I do believe I used all the called for colors. And I even used the variegated for the red for like, and all three of these, the same variegated red. Okay, that was the first one. Now the next one I did was called Bringing Home the Tree. Yeah, it's called Bringing Home the Tree. Let me show you the pattern. And once again, I printed this off of a PDF download from their Etsy shop. Love this one. Then, and here it is, all finished. And like I said, same fabric. I used the 16 count black Cosmo again, all the called for colors. And I actually made the ornament exactly the same way because I wanted all three of these to match. And didn't it turn out adorable? Oh my gosh. I just love these little dapper doodads. They're so cute. And as you can see, like from the palm of my hand, it's not super big. So it was just the perfect size for my tree. I really like them. I like the way they look together as a set. And so I probably will stitch those again. You know, probably stitch them a couple more times. Okay, the next one, the third one is called Fraser Fur Farm. And it's the same thing. It's a Dapper Doodad by Stitching with the Housewives. Just love that pattern. And here is it finished. Now, let's see. This one, yeah, I did it exactly like the pattern. No, I didn't. Okay, see where it says, let me show you the pattern. Where it says, cut your own Fraser fur. It's actually like a white sign. And what I did was I eliminated it and just did the words in white and then Fraser fur in the green that it called for. I actually saw that idea on, oh gosh, what's that girl's name? Java Girl City, what am I saying? Java Girl Stitches. We have a coffee shop here in town called Java City. So that's what I'm thinking. Got coffee on the brain, right? It's Java Girl Stitches, and she eliminated that white sign and then made her words cut your own and stitched that in white. And I just love the way it played off of that black that I think she might have stitched hers on like a chalkboard black, which was a little bit lighter, but I just love the way it looked. And I thought that's what I'm gonna do because I just love it. So that's the one, that's the last one that I did in that group of that Dapper Doodads. Finished it the exact same way. And that's a Stitching by the Housewives. And I just love how all three of these turned out. And I think, you know, Java Girl, if you ever watched her video, I'll link her down below because she's like super fabulous. And this girl knows what she's doing. So like, I don't think she minds if you get inspiration from her and, you know, let her know that, hey, I loved your idea, so I'm going to do mine like that. She would love that, I'm sure. So go over there and watch her videos because she made all three of those and then she put them all on one like big frame and made like a group picture of it with some, you know, she used some like Christmas greenery and some ribbon and stuff on the top, and it was just beautiful. So I'm thinking about stitching all three of those again for me to do something similar to that, and then that way I'll have these three for my tree, and then I can have that as a home deck item also. So I'm excited about that. But for right now, I've got the 3 ornaments, so I'm happy with that. But like I said, if you have not watched Java Girl Stitches, go over and watch her channel. She is very knowledgeable in finishing cross stitch, and sometimes she doesn't give herself enough credit for how talented she really is. That's how impressed I am with her finishes. So I'm sure you guys will love her if you haven't already been watching her. I can't imagine there is not a cross stitcher who has not watched Java Girl. So let me link her down below and you guys go and check her out if you haven't already. Now the last one that I did, and I can't show you the picture of it because I downloaded it and I didn't download the main picture. But it's called Snow Delivery and it's by Stitching with the Housewives, and I made an ornament out of it. And here it is. It's the blue truck with the snowman. And I'm not quite sure if this is a Dapper Doodad or not. I really don't remember because it didn't say on the actual pattern. The only thing I printed out was the actual cross stitch pattern with, you know, the key for the colors and all that. But this one I did not stitch on 16 count Black Cosmo. This finish actually prompted me to start using 16 count Black Cosmo because this is 27 count Black Linda. So I did two threads over 2. Okay, and it's not as rich of a black. It's more of a charcoal black, even though it kind of reads, you know, solid black here in on my video. But I did not care for the 27 count Black Linda. But that's just me. You know, a lot of people use it and they love it. And I say, if you love it and you like the way your stitches look, use it. I just prefer that Black Cosmo in the 16 count because I'm going 2 threads over 1. It's good for my old lady eyes. So, you know, sometimes you just have to go with what you're comfortable stitching and what you like the outcome of. So, but like I said, I did do this on 27 count Black Linda, and I just cut it even with this frame. This is one of those frames that you get from Hobby Lobby. And I bought it, it appears as if I bought this 5 years ago. So, but I'm sure that they will sell something like this at Christmas time. They're like picture frames. And they have like some words on the inside and they set down in. They're like there's a little bit of a depth there that you could, I mounted this cross stitch on a piece of sticky board. And I did put a piece of Warm and Natural batting behind it after I put the black SF 101, like I did with those other ornaments. And then that way I just popped it into this frame, let it set down in it. And then I glued this red and white baker's twine to kind of hide all that, you know, raw edged area. And then I just added this little black and white gingham bow. And then a little snowflake button. I do believe it was a button, and I had my husband cut off the back side where, you know, you sew it on like a button. And then I just added a little bit more gingham for a tie so I can hang it on my Christmas tree. But it turned out really great. And this little bow that I did, it's like a flat bow, as you can see a little bit better when I tilt it. I actually watched a tutorial on Nicole Spohr LLC's channel because that's a gal who knows how to do her bows, okay? And if you ever watched any of my other videos, you know that Kathleen is seriously not very good with making bows. So when I've seen something like this, and like I said, it's like a flat bow, but it has dimension to it. And you hide the multitude of sins of the center with a little, you know, trinket of some sort. And this is just a little snowflake. I thought it was perfect because there's all kinds of little snowflakes on the background of this image. So if you haven't checked out Nicole Spohr LLC's, you know, her tutorials and her videos, go check her out because she is another very talented lady on YouTube, and you will not be disappointed in her videos. So go check her out. I'll link her down below so you guys can find her real easy. If, you know, I can't imagine nobody's watching her, somebody's not watching her too, you know. So, okay. The next one, that's 4 so far. The next one is my cardinal, and I can't show you the picture because it was a freebie. And it's a cardinal that was a freebie by Crochet A Go-Go. And what I did was, it actually was, the original design was the cardinal, and it was inside like this glass cloche type thing. I eliminated that part, and I just stitched the cardinal with all of its branches and, you know, like the little snowflakes and stuff. And I stitched that on 28 count dwarf by Picture This Plus, and it was a Lugana. And then this little ornament came from Hobby Lobby, and I'm really hoping they're going to have more of these because I just love the way this turned out. It was easy to mount on a circle, and I got the circles from Fat Quarter Shop. They have a ton of circles. So go and get those. Those are like those sticky circles, and that worked out perfect. I mounted it with some warm and natural batting to give it a little bit of poof again. And then I mounted it on that circle, that sticky circle, and then stuck the whole thing in there with my hot glue gun. And then I added this little red and white baker's twine. And then I replaced the twine that was on the original ornament, and I just replaced it with the same red and white baker's twine that I used on the inside here. And when I glued that in there, I just used Aleene's glue because it dries clear, and I didn't have to worry about getting like excess, you know, with like your glue gun. Sometimes Kathleen's not really that great with the glue gun. Ask my husband, you know, he's always hearing screaming coming because I'm burning my fingertips off, you know. I have no identity now. Basically. So I like to use Aleene's tacky glue when I can, if it's the appropriate, you know, scenario for Aleene's tacky glue. So that's what I did. And I love this, and I'm hoping I'm going to get some more of these tins. Now these tart tins are also very similar to the ones that Fat Quarter Shop sells. So if you can't get them at Hobby Lobby, check over at Fat Quarter Shop. They have them. Most of the time they do have them. Sometimes they run out, but just get the notification and you'll get like an email letting you know when they get some more in stock. So check those out. And it's a quick finish, and it's not too big. Once again, look at it with my hand. It's not too big for your Christmas tree or, you know, hang it on a doorknob or whatnot. I just love that little one. And on that blue dwarf fabric from Picture This Plus, it really popped. That red really popped off of there. Now the next one I did a very similar finish, but the project was a Primrose Cottage Stitches, and it's from this grouping called White Christmas 2022. Yeah, 2022. And I did the snowman guy. Okay, I love these little projects that Lindsay and her sisters and her mama, they all stitch these beautiful things. These are designed by Lindsay from Primrose Cottage Stitches. You cannot go wrong with any of their patterns. I mean, they're just fabulous. Okay, just fabulous. Okay, here's what it looks like, all finished in the same type of finish as my other cardinal one. And I stitched this on, it was an 18 count white opalescent Aida. So 2 threads over 1, which made it really easy. And it was opalescent, so it has like a sparkle to it. I don't know if you can see that. I hope so. But so because it had that white sparkle, what I did was I did not stitch the actual snowman. And I did not stitch the actual snowflakes. I just let the white opalescent Aida come through all the other stitching, because it is a pretty dense full coverage, but it fit in this little tart tin just perfect. And because the scarf was green, I had this green and white baker's twine, and I did the exact same finish with the circle, the sticky circle from Fat Quarter Shop. It worked out great. And I could make every one of hers from this pattern. And there's another set too. I'm not sure if it's the same year, but there's another set of 4, and I could make all of them. I just need to get myself some more of these little metal tart tins. But I just love the way that turned out. So if you're looking for some quick ornaments, those are all fabulous. I just love every one of them. Now, my last ornament I want to show you is a Little House Needleworks, and it is called Gingerbread Cookie. I stitched this one, felt like 150 years ago, but I'm sure it was like more like about 3 years ago. I stitched it, made a few minor changes on it, and then it just sat on my design wall. And then, you know, my sister came to visit and told me that you must finish these or I will, you know, chase you down and run you over with my car. Well, maybe not. So I decided that this was one of the ones. Gingerbread Cookie, love it. Little House Needleworks, I just love this pattern. It was a really easy one, and I finished it a little bit different on this wooden tag. And all I did was I first, you know, I mounted it on sticky board, and then I just mounted the whole thing I didn't double mount it with another piece of sticky board. I mounted the actual cross stitch sticky board right onto this wooden tag that I got. They came in like a group of 6 at Michael's, and they never had them in the store. This was a couple years ago, and they never had them inside the store, but I was able to order them online and then pick them up at the store. So that worked out really good. And I think I ended up buying like 2 packages of them because I figured, you know, they're just going to be hard to get later. So, and then I just added one of those simple bows from Nicole Spore's website. Very simple, you know, see how it's like a flat bow with a little bit of poof dimension to it. And then I added this little gingerbread button that I got at Hobby Lobby. They come in like a package of like, I don't know, maybe a dozen or so. Oh my gosh, they're adorable. And it hid the ugliness of the center of my bow. So Kathleen doesn't have to make good bows because I can just add this little trinket, you know, in the center. So let me see if I can get it a little bit closer so you can see. And then I just added the baker's twine. I added the baker's twine around the edge because when I put this on to the wooden thing, the cross stitch part, I felt like it was too raised right there. So I wanted to add a little bit of color plus hide that. And then I just used the same baker's twine for the hanger too. I think it came with like a piece of twine or something. It was something plain. So I went ahead and I changed that out just to add some more color to it. I just love this guy. So I could stitch that one again too. You know, every one of these ornaments, I could probably stitch them over and over and, you know, give them away as gifts and whatnot. So, okay, so those are my 7. I had 7 finishes and they're all small, but they're cross stitch, and I made them all into ornaments. So I can't wait to use those on my Christmas tree this year. Now, let's talk about a finish that I did. Let me see if I can find the pattern. This pattern is a plum tree. I finished this one, I think a 3 years ago, and I have shown it on one of my videos, you know, one of my earlier videos that 3 people watched. So I feel like, you know, it's okay to show it again because nobody watched that video. So this one is called Plum Street Samplers, Kringle and Woolard. And I love this pattern. I loved it. It was the first time I ever used overdyes. And I used the overdye for both, let's see. I used it for the green, and then I used it for the his red coat and the hat. And let's see, yeah, his Santa suit and the, you know, the top part of his hat. And I did change the green to Classic Colorworks Weeping Willow, and then I changed, I think I used the Cherry Cobbler. I used the Cherry Cobbler, but for the red. Now, one thing that Kathleen learned, this was the first time, like I had said, that I used overdyes. And the one thing about using overdyed threads is you want to be very careful that you have no moisture near your work. Like your hands can't be wet. You can't be, you know, drinking a sweaty glass of iced tea that's, you know, all, you know, dripping with water because it's 175 degrees outside. You know, you can't get moisture on your hands and then be touching your project because it wants to bleed. Now, thank goodness mine bled on the back side and not on the front. So I'm okay with it. So, but I did learn a very valuable lesson there. So be careful. Some of those overdyes are not color fast and they will bleed. And sometimes I have found that even ones that say they're color fast, they're not all that color fast. And, you know, do you want to find out after you've stitched this huge thing and you find out that you got, you know, something spilled on it or somebody's straw slurped on it or whatever, you know? I mean, there's 150 ways for it to get, you know, a water droplet on it. And then it like bleeds, and it can bleed into the other colors. It can bleed onto your fabric, and it's a hot mess. So ask me how I know. Okay, so here's my finish, and I stitched mine on 32, hope you can see that good, 32 count Vintage Stormy Night. It's a gray mottled. It's a Lugana. I stitched 2 threads over 2, I love this guy. He's an old-fashioned Santa with his little sheep. And if you look at the sheep, you can see in another color of the gray are little like quilted stars in a pattern on his body. I think that's what attracted me to this particular, because I am a quilter. So I really do like this. And this is, it finished, the actual image part is 5 inches wide and 7 inches tall. And I wanted to ask you guys if you could give me your advice as to how would you finish this? Would you frame it? Would you double mount it like with sticky board and a matching fabric on the backside and then mount it on something? I'm curious. I'm kind of like at a standstill on how to do the finish on it. So I am kind of leaning towards a frame because it is a perfect 5x7, and I probably could, maybe double mount it and put it in an 8x10 frame, and then, give it some more color from the background. I do really like it. So what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below, leave a little comment, give me a suggestion, and I'd love to hear from every one of you. So that's my Kringle and Woolard. And that one was by Plum Street Samplers, if I didn't mention that. I think I did. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you is about a fabric line that I bought. And it's called Once Upon a Christmas. And here's the pieces that I bought from that line. I didn't buy the whole line. I just bought half-yard cuts of these particular fabrics because I wanted to make some project bag sets for my cross stitch stuff. I just love this pink and red. It's different. It's, it's Christmas, but it's different. And this one, like I said, is called Once Upon a Christmas, and it's designed by Sweet Fire Road, and they designed for Moda. So I think you can still find this. I did get mine at Honey Quilt on Etsy, and I'll link her shop down below so you can go and look and see if she's got any more. But like I said, I bought several of the half-yard cuts, and then when I got the fabric in, I cut all the selvages off compulsively and organized them. I know, Kathleen. I love to cut off the selvages because I make things with them. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with these beautiful selvages. I'm sure I'll come up with something cute. And there's a lot of it because I had to buy some yardage too, so I could use it for like backgrounds and whatnot. So I got this for like the back of my project bags. Love this one with the little Santa Clauses and the ornaments. It's just adorable. Then I got this one as just a, like a one that kind of coordinated with it, so I could use for my little floss buddies. Got that one. And then this is the one I used for the interior lining of all my cross stitch items. And I'm going to show you those in a minute. And then the last one is this diagonal stripe. And I love to use stripes. If you've watched me before, I like to use stripes for all my bindings on all my bags and all my cross stitch accessories. I use them for like the trim and the edging and stuff. And then I use them in my floss bobbin keepers for the binding across the top. But I'll show you that. You'll be able to see that when I show you my bag. Now, here's the bag that I made. Is it not adorable, people? Oh my gosh, I just love this one. I just love the pink and red play on Christmas. And the back is that all over print with the Santa Clauses and the ornaments for Christmas, all red and pink. I just love it. Let me open it up and show you the interior. I did use that pink with the red and the white dots for the interior. And I did use that striped binding for the zipper placket and the binding all the way around the whole thing. Now this is the quilted patchwork bag, and it's very substantial. I actually have 3 projects in this particular bag. They're set to be like 13.5 inches tall, and they're about 16 and a half inches wide. So it is a very substantial bag, and it's made with multiple layers of stabilizer, so it's very substantial, and it stands up on its own, as you can see. And I just love it because it's large enough to house like my, all the stuff and lots of different projects and like my hoops or whatever. So I did make 2 accessories. One of them is the spool case, and I like to keep, I don't normally stitch with 103s or threads on spools, but I do use the carded variegated floss. And so I like to keep those there. And sometimes I put my scissors in there and my extra needles, you know, things like that. So I use that all over print with Santa in the pink and red. And it turned out adorable. It's got a really pretty zipper, and it's quilted on the back panel. So that's for like that's called a spool case. Now the other piece I made was my floss bobbin keeper. And I made it with that same overall print. And on the inside, you know, I have the stripe for the binding on the little pockets for my floss bobbins. And as you can see, I have all my floss bobbins in there. And then the middle guy is a floss bobbin keeper, or floss buddy. And basically, you know, your threads will stick on there as you're working on them. And then you have somewhere to put your, where you can put your needles. And then that snaps shut, and then the whole thing snaps shut, and you can carry all your flosses, you know, with you in your projects and whatnot. So like I said, I have the flosses for 3 projects in this and in this, because some of them called for some of my projects that I have in this particular bag are calling for both DMC and the variegated threads on the cards. So that's what I ended up making for a couple of projects, and I haven't started these projects, so I will show you those later when I you know, get some progress on them or something. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is a vintage find. I did show this about 1.5 years ago, because my channel is over 2 years old, and I have some videos that 2 or 3 people watched. So I'm sure that nobody saw this vintage find that my husband found me a couple years ago, and he refurbished it. It is a vintage gumball machine. Okay, let me go back a little bit so you can see the whole thing. And it was kind of like a scary red, all scratched up and whatnot. And he sanded it down, took it all apart. He replaced the cylinder, okay? And then he repainted it a jadeite green, because I do use some jadeite green and red in my studio for decorating. And he did a fabulous job. And then I put all my cream and white and light tan buttons in there. I actually saw this on Pinterest, the idea on Pinterest, and I showed it to my husband. I says, this is what I want for Christmas. So he went out on the hunt for one of these vintage gumball machines and did it for me in a Christmas surprise one year. I've had it for probably about 12 years, I think now. But I just love this guy, and as you can see, my buttons. And I can still open the top where the buttons are, you know, go in. And so if I need a button, this color, I can still open it up and get my hand in there and pick out a button. And I've done it, if I needed a button to finish off something or whatnot. But I just like the way that cream and white and light tans look with this jadeite color for the gumball machine. So that's about it today, guys. I'm doing pretty good. I'm just about 30 minutes. So I was trying to keep it short and divide them up. Like I said, the next video will be the second half of some of my FFOs. And they're going to be cross stitch FFOs. So if you see something here that has inspired you to maybe make one of the projects that I did, or stitch one of the projects that I did, or if you have any questions regarding something that I finished or a pattern that I used and maybe I forgot to share that information here on the video, leave me a comment. You know, I answer all my comments. And even if you just say something nice, like I just loved your video today, I always respond to it, because I think it's important that you give that extra, you know, that little extra touch to your channel. So, but that's what I have for you guys today. And if you see something here that you liked, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll know when a new video comes out, and you'll be all set when something new on the horizon comes up at the Quilted Story. We're gonna see you here next time. at the Quilted Story. Bye-bye now.